Hi friends, today we're going to talk a little bit more about triangles. We have done a really good job with, we all are pretty good about telling if it's an acute, a right, or obtuse triangle. So I just want to review a little bit. This up here is review. This is our new part that we're going to talk about today. So an acute triangle has to have 3 acute angles. So all of those are less than 90. To be a right triangle, it has to have 1 right angle and 2 acute angles. And then to be an obtuse triangle, it needs 1 obtuse angle and 2 acute angles. So I'm going to go ahead and draw so these are acute triangles, not, because we can say angles too, so we have to be clear. So in our acute one, all 3 of these are smaller than 90. In the right, you have to have the right, and then the other 2 are automatically acute. And then in the obtuse, you have a big angle and then 2 little small angles. And those are ways that we can tell if it's an acute, a right, or obtuse triangle. Now, just like with quadrilaterals, there's more than one way to name it. So, your first step is to decide if it's an acute triangle, a right triangle, and an obtuse triangle. Then your next one is to find out if it's an isosceles triangle, an equilateral triangle, and a scalene triangle. Now, equilateral is kind of easy to remember. It sounds like equal. So that one means all 3 sides have to be equal. That means they're the same length. And that means if all 3 sides are the same length, that means every angle is 60 degrees. You don't have to measure it. It's something that you'll just know. So if every side is the same length, and remember to show the same length, we use that mark. If it's 2 lines, that means it's a different length. So when you see all 3 sides are the same length, that means this is an equilateral triangle. It's also an acute triangle because all 3 angles are acute angles. So this is an acute equilateral triangle. And we'll have practice naming our triangles. Don't worry. I don't expect you to remember it. This is a chart that I do want you to write down, though. I have it in the classroom, so you can write down, but this needs to be in a notebook. Hint, hint, it's going to be on the test. The other 2 are isosceles and scalene, and those are kind of, we have to memorize those. There's not a trick like equilateral thinking equal. With isosceles triangles, 2 sides are equal and 1 is not. So either this could be longer or shorter, but it cannot be the same side as the other 2. So if there's 2 sides that are the same and 1 is not, that means that it's an isosceles triangle. And it also means that 2 of the angles are exactly the same. So this angle is not the same as these 2 angles. And that's why there's 2 lines around them instead of just 1. So the thing about the isosceles, if it's 2 lines are the same, then it is an isosceles triangle. Now, right now, this is a acute isosceles triangle, but later on I'll show you a right isosceles triangle. And then the other one is scalene. And scalene, maybe we can think scary because nothing's the same. In a scalene triangle, there's no sides that are the same length and no angles are the same. So with this one, every side is a different length. There's nothing that is the same, and so that's called a scalene triangle. So our ones that we're really good at are acute, right, and obtuse. The ones that we're going to be practicing with is isosceles, equilateral, and scalene. So really fast, I'm just going to do 2 examples, and then we're going to practice it together. So for example, if I do this right angle, and so we have, this is a right triangle because it has 1 right angle and 2 acute, but it's also these 2 lines are the same, this one's not. So that means 2 sides are the same, 1's not, so that means it's a right isosceles triangle. Because with it, we know the right, we're pretty good at that. But since we have 2 sides that are equal, and that means these 2 angles are the ones that are equal, that means that that's an isosceles triangle. Now with this one is a acute isosceles. So we have to, when you're finding it on the test, you got to look at both words. So we're going to be practicing that in IXL today, and we'll do it during our group time tomorrow or on Thursday, and then we'll just practicing using the chart. I don't expect you to have it memorized yet, but using the chart. That's why I want you to have it down to answer those questions on IXL today. So you're really good about this. This is what we're going to be practicing to tell the difference by looking at the lengths of the sides. This is really focusing on the angles. These focus on the lengths of the side.